My pregnant fiancée wanted my teenage son to lose his room for her 3 kids from previous relationships. When I refused, she called me creepy for putting him first, so I ended the engagement even though we were having a baby together. My son Spencer, 17M, is everything to me, 52M. His mother, my wife Wendy, passed away when he was 7. Cancer took her in 6 months. We sold our old place after she died because neither of us could stand living there anymore. Too many memories in every corner. I bought our current house 3 years later with money from her life insurance and my savings. The house has Spencer's name on the deed alongside mine. Wendy made me promise before she died that I would make sure he always had a home. I keep that promise every day. Spencer has his own room upstairs. Big space with large windows and his own bathroom attached. He's into photography and keeps all his equipment in there. Cameras, lights, a computer set up for editing. The room next to his used to be a guest room, but he uses it for storage now. Mostly his sports gear and some boxes of Wendy's things we couldn't let go of. My bedroom is downstairs with its own bathroom. We also have 2 other bathrooms in the house. One upstairs near the guest rooms and one on the main floor. The house has 4 bedrooms total plus my home office which I need for work. I manage accounts for a logistics company and work from home 3 days a week. I met Lauren, 38F, 2 years ago at a work conference. She was funny and smart. Made me laugh for the first time in years. We started dating and things moved slowly at first. She has 3 kids from 2 different relationships. Twin boys Trevor and Jason, 12M, and a daughter Kiara, 9F. The fathers aren't in the picture. One moved out of state and barely pays support. The other one sees his son maybe twice a year. Lauren works as a dental hygienist and rents a small 3-bedroom apartment across town. Her kids share rooms there. The twins in one room and Kiara has her own small room. 6 months ago Lauren got pregnant. We weren't planning it. We'd talked about marriage someday but nothing concrete. When she told me about the baby everything accelerated. I proposed 3 weeks after we found out. Seemed like the right thing to do. Give the baby a stable home with married parents. My family wasn't thrilled. My sister Rebecca kept asking if I was sure. My brother told me I was rushing into things. Spencer didn't say much when I told him. Just nodded and said congratulations. Then 2 months ago Lauren's landlord raised her rent by $600. She couldn't afford it on her salary. She needed to move and started looking at cheaper apartments, but everything was either too far from her work or in bad neighborhoods. I suggested she move in with us. We were getting married anyway and the baby was coming. Made sense to combine households. She agreed immediately. That's when things got complicated. I sat Spencer down before making it official. Told him Lauren and her kids would be moving in. Asked him how he felt about it. He was quiet for a long time. Then he said he guessed it was fine but he wanted to keep his room. I promised him right there that his room was his. No one would take it. He could keep using the storage room too until we figured out a better system. I also told him I'd pay him if he ever babysat for Lauren's kids or the new baby. $20 an hour. He didn't ask for it, but I offered because I didn't want him feeling obligated. Wendy's old car is sitting in the garage. A Honda that still runs fine. I told Spencer it's his when he gets his license next year. These weren't negotiations. These were promises I made to my son because his life was about to change completely and he didn't ask for any of it. The plan for rooms seemed simple to me. Spencer keeps his room and bathroom. The twins would share the larger guest room upstairs. Kiara would get the smaller guest room. The upstairs bathroom would be for Lauren's kids. Lauren and I would take the master bedroom downstairs. The baby would stay in our room for the first few months, then we'd convert part of my office into a nursery area. Not ideal but workable. I'd move my desk to the corner and put up a divider. The office bathroom would be right there for diaper changes. I explained all this to Lauren over dinner at her place. She was putting the kids to bed. When she came back to the living room I walked her through the room arrangements. She stopped me halfway through. She said Spencer's room was too big for one person. Said her twins needed more space and they should get his room. Spencer could move to the smaller guest room. I told her no. That room is his. Been his for years. She said I was being unreasonable. The twins are 2 people and Spencer is 1. Simple math. I reminded her that Spencer's room has his bathroom attached and all his equipment set up. Moving him would be a huge disruption. She said he could adjust. Kids are flexible. Then she brought up the storage room. Said Kiara should get that room instead of the smaller guest room. I explained that room doesn't have a closet or good lighting. We use it for storage. She said we could add a closet. I told her we weren't renovating the house. She asked why Spencer needed 2 rooms when her kids were cramming into small spaces. I said he doesn't need 2 rooms. One is his bedroom. The other is storage that happened to be next to his room. We could move that stuff to the basement. She wasn't done. She said it wasn't fair that Spencer had his own bathroom when her 3 kids would share one. I pointed out that there are 4 bathrooms in the house total. 1 for Spencer. 1 for me and her. 1 for her kids to share. 1 on the main floor for guests. That's 1 bathroom for 3 kids. Seemed reasonable to me. She said Spencer was getting special treatment. I asked her what she meant by that. She said I was treating him like a prince while her kids got leftovers. I reminded her that her kids were getting an upgrade. They currently share rooms in a small apartment. Now they'd each have more space or share a much bigger room than they have now. She said that wasn't the point. The point was fairness. All the kids should be treated equally. I told her about the promises I made to Spencer. The babysitting pay. The car. The room. She stared at me. Then she asked if I was serious about paying him to watch his own siblings. I said yes. He didn't sign up to be a built-in babysitter. If we needed childcare, we'd pay for it, whether that was Spencer or someone else. She said that was ridiculous. Families help each other. I said helping is voluntary. Being expected to provide free labor isn't help. She asked about the car. I explained it was Wendy's car. Been sitting in the garage for 10 years. Always planned to give it to Spencer. She said if Spencer was getting a car, then her twins should get cars when they turn 17 too. I told her I wasn't buying 3 more cars. She called that unfair. I said life isn't fair and I'm not responsible for providing equally for kids that aren't mine. She went silent. Then she said I was treating her kids like second-class citizens in what was supposed to be their home too. I told her the house is Spencer's home. Has been for years. Her kids would be welcome, but that doesn't mean everything gets redistributed. She asked if I was saying my son mattered more than hers. I said in my house, yes. My son comes first. That's not negotiable. She stood up and walked to the kitchen. I followed her. She had her back to me and her shoulders were shaking. She turned around and her face was red. She said I was setting up a household where her kids would always feel less than. Where they'd watch Spencer get everything while they got scraps. I told her that wasn't true. They were getting good rooms and a stable home. She said a stable home where the man of the house openly admitted her kids don't matter as much. I didn't have an answer for that because she was right in a way. Spencer does come first. That's how it has to be. I told her if she couldn't accept that, then maybe we shouldn't get married. She asked if I was seriously going to throw away our relationship over bedroom assignments. I said I was willing to end things if she came into my house trying to push my son aside. She called me unreasonable. Called me controlling. Said I was stuck in the past with my dead wife and using Spencer as a replacement for the family I lost. I left after that. Didn't say anything else. Just walked out and drove home. Told Spencer the move might not happen. He asked why. I said Lauren and I disagreed about some things. He nodded and went back to his room. Lauren called me the next day. She apologized. Said she was stressed about money and the pregnancy and didn't mean what she said. I told her I needed time to think. She said we didn't have time. Her lease was up in 3 weeks. I said that wasn't my emergency. She started crying on the phone. Said she couldn't afford a new place and didn't know what she'd do. I told her I'd help with money for a deposit somewhere else, but she wasn't moving into my house. Not like this. We've been going back and forth for a week now. She keeps trying to compromise. Says Spencer can keep his room, but can the twins at least have the storage room? I keep saying no. She says I'm being stubborn. Maybe I am. But I made promises to my son and I'm keeping them. Rebecca told me I did the right thing. Said she never trusted Lauren's motives. My brother said I should try harder to make it work for the baby's sake. Spencer hasn't said anything either way. The wedding was supposed to be in 2 months. Small ceremony at the courthouse. We haven't canceled it yet, but I'm not sure we're going to make it there. Lauren keeps saying we can work this out if I just bend a little. But I don't see where there's room to bend. Spencer's home is his home. I'm not turning it upside down for someone who sees him as an obstacle. So that's where I am. Engaged to a pregnant woman who wants me to choose between her and my son. Except it's not really a choice. It never was. Update 1: Lauren moved in with her sister temporarily. Her lease ended and she couldn't find an affordable place in time. The wedding got postponed indefinitely. We told people we wanted to wait until after the baby arrived. That was the polite version. The real version is we're barely speaking. Spencer asked me last week if I was okay. I told him I was fine. He said I seemed tired. I probably am. Working full days, then spending evenings on the phone with Lauren trying to figure out custody arrangements for a baby that isn't even born yet. My lawyer suggested we formalize everything now. Get it in writing. Lauren was insulted. Said she couldn't believe I was lawyering up against my own child's mother. I told her I was protecting everyone involved. Making sure there were no misunderstandings later. Her sister's place is small. Lauren and the kids are crammed into one bedroom together. She sends me pictures sometimes. Kiara sleeping on an air mattress. The twins sharing a twin bed. She doesn't caption the photos. Doesn't need to. The message is clear. This is my fault. I'm the one with the empty bedrooms. My brother stopped by 2 days ago. Brought pizza for Spencer and me. After we ate, he asked if I'd reconsidered. I asked reconsidered what? He said letting Lauren move in. I told him no. He said I was letting pride ruin my kid's chance at having 2 parents. I asked him which kid he was worried about. He said both of them. Spencer needs a mother figure. The baby needs a father in the house. I told him Spencer had a mother and she died. No one's replacing her. And the baby will have a father. Me. Just maybe not under the same roof as the mother. He left after that. Didn't finish his pizza. Lauren called me Sunday morning. Early. Before 7. She was crying. Hard to understand what she was saying at first. Then I caught enough words. Her sister's landlord found out there were extra people staying there. Violates the lease. They have to leave by the end of the month. Lauren asked if she could please move into my house. Just temporarily. Just until she found something else. She promised she wouldn't push about the rooms. The kids could sleep anywhere. They'd stay out of Spencer's way. I told her I'd think about it. She asked how long I needed to think. I said I'd call her back. I didn't call her back that day. Or the next day. On Tuesday she showed up at my house at 6 in the evening. Spencer answered the door. She asked if I was home. He got me. She was standing on the porch with Kiara. The girl was holding a stuffed animal and looking at her feet. Lauren asked if we could talk inside. I said no. Whatever she needed to say could be said on the porch. She looked at Kiara then back at me. She said she was desperate. Had nowhere else to go. Her parents lived 4 states away and they'd already said they didn't have room. Her friends from work couldn't take in a family of 4. The twins were with her ex-husband's mother for a few days but that wasn't permanent. She needed help. I asked her what kind of help she expected. She said temporary housing. 1 month. Maybe 2. Just until she could save enough for a deposit and first month somewhere cheaper. I asked her how she'd save money if she wasn't paying rent. She said she'd pick up extra shifts. I asked where her kids would be while she worked extra shifts. She didn't answer that. Kiara tugged on Lauren's sleeve. Asked if she could use the bathroom. Lauren told her to wait. The girl shifted from foot to foot. I told Spencer to show her to the bathroom inside. He took Kiara in. Lauren thanked me. I didn't respond. When Kiara came back out, Lauren asked again about staying. I told her I'd pay for a hotel for 2 weeks. Give her time to figure something out. She said a hotel with 4 kids would cost a fortune. I said I'd cover it. She asked why I'd pay for a hotel but not let her stay in my empty bedrooms. I told her because a hotel has an end date. Her moving in doesn't. She started crying again. Said I was being cruel. Said she couldn't believe I'd do this to my own child. Let the baby's mother be homeless. I told her she wasn't homeless. She had options. She just didn't like them. She called me heartless. Grabbed Kiara's hand and walked back to her car. Spencer came back to the living room after they left. He asked if Lauren was going to move in. I said no. He nodded. Then he asked if I felt bad about it. I told him I felt like I made the right choice for us. He said okay and went upstairs. I paid for 2 weeks at an extended stay hotel. Lauren texted me the next day saying, "Thank you," but also saying this didn't solve anything. I didn't respond. My sister called me yesterday. Said she heard from someone that Lauren was telling people I abandoned her while she was pregnant. That I threw her out on the street. I asked Rebecca if she believed that. She said of course not, but other people might. I told her I didn't care what other people believed. Rebecca said I should care. Said my reputation in town mattered. Said people might think badly of me. I told her my reputation with strangers mattered less than my son's stability. She said she agreed but wanted me to be prepared for gossip. I thanked her and hung up. The hotel I'm paying for runs out in 5 days. Lauren hasn't told me her plan yet. I'm not asking. Spencer has a math test on Friday. He's been studying every night. Things here are quiet. The house feels the way it should feel. Like home. Update 2: Lauren had the baby 2 weeks ago. A girl. She named her Sophie without asking me. I found out when she texted me a photo from the hospital. The baby was early by 3 weeks but healthy. I went to visit the next day. Brought flowers. Lauren's sister was there. She left when I arrived. The room went cold. I held Sophie for maybe 10 minutes. Lauren didn't say much. Just laid in the bed looking at the wall. I asked if she needed anything. She said she needed a father for her daughter who actually wanted to be involved. I told her I'd be involved. She asked how. I said I'd work out a custody schedule. Provide financial support. Be present for doctor's appointments and school events when the time came. She laughed. Said that wasn't a father. That was a divorced dad doing the bare minimum. I left after that. Kissed Sophie on the forehead and walked out. Haven't been back to see them since. Lauren texts me updates. Sophie's weight. Feeding schedules. Photos. I respond to all of them. But I haven't visited again. My lawyer finalized a temporary custody and support agreement. I'll have Sophie every other weekend once she's 3 months old. Until then Lauren can bring her to my house for visits if she wants. I'm paying $1,500 a month in support. Lauren said it wasn't enough. Her lawyer said it was more than adequate based on my income and the custody split. The agreement got signed last week. Spencer asked if he'd get to meet his sister. I told him yes when she was a bit older. He asked if Lauren would bring her other kids too. I said probably. He went quiet. Then he asked if that meant they'd be in the house. I told him just for visits. He said okay, but he didn't look okay. 3 days ago Lauren called me. Not texted. Actually called. She said we needed to talk in person. I asked about what. She said about us. I told her there was no us. She said there could be. For Sophie's sake. I asked what she meant. She said if I still wanted to marry her she was willing to compromise on the room situation. The twins could share a room. Kiara could share with Sophie eventually. Spencer could keep his room. She'd been thinking about it and decided she overreacted before. I asked her what changed. She said becoming a mother again made her realize how important two-parent households were. She wanted Sophie to grow up with both parents under one roof. Wanted all her kids to have that stability. I told her I'd think about it. She asked how long. I said I needed time. She said okay but not to take too long. She couldn't stay with her sister much longer. I talked to Spencer that night. Told him Lauren wanted to move in again. With all 4 kids and the baby. He put down his phone and looked at me. He asked if I was going to say yes. I told him I didn't know. He asked if my answer depended on what he thought. I said partly. He said he didn't want them here. Said the house was good the way it was. Just us. I asked if he'd be willing to meet Sophie at least. He said sure. Just not here. Yesterday Lauren showed up unannounced. She had Sophie in a car seat. Said she wanted me to spend time with a baby. I invited her in. Spencer was at school. We sat in the living room. Sophie slept the whole time. Lauren looked around the house. Commented on how quiet it was. How much space there was. Said it seemed empty with just 2 people. I told her it didn't feel empty. She said it would feel more like a home with a family in it. I asked if she was trying to guilt me. She said she was trying to make me see reason. She looked tired. Hair pulled back. Sweatpants and an old shirt. She said her sister wanted them out by next month. She'd been looking at apartments but anything affordable was too small or in bad areas. She couldn't keep moving her kids around. I asked about the twins' father. She said he wasn't an option. I asked about Kiara's father. Same answer. I asked if she'd considered moving to a cheaper city. She stared at me. Asked if I was seriously suggesting she move hours away from her job and Sophie's father. I said I was suggesting she explore all options. She picked up Sophie's car seat and stood up. She said she thought I'd changed. Thought maybe I'd come around. But I was the same selfish person I'd been before. Only cared about myself and my son. Didn't care about anyone else. I walked her to the door. She stopped on the porch and turned back. She said Spencer had me wrapped around his finger. Said I couldn't see it but everyone else could. Said one day I'd regret choosing a teenager over building a real family. I closed the door. Went back to the living room. Sat down on the couch. The house was quiet again. I called my lawyer and told him to make the custody arrangement permanent. Every other weekend. Holidays alternating. Standard divorced parent schedule. He said he'd draft the papers. Spencer came home an hour later. He asked if anyone stopped by. I told him Lauren did. He asked if she tried to convince me again. I said yes. He asked what I told her. I said I was finalizing custody arrangements. He nodded. Then he asked if I was sad about it. I told him some things don't work out the way you planned but that doesn't mean you made the wrong choice. He went upstairs to do homework. I sat in the living room until it got dark outside. Then I made dinner. We ate and watched a game on TV. Later that night I went to his room and stood in the doorway. He was editing photos on his computer. I watched him work for a minute. He's good at it. Really good. Wendy would have been proud. He noticed me standing there and turned around. Asked if I needed something. I told him no. Just checking in. He smiled and went back to his editing. I went to my room. The house was quiet. It was enough. Final update: Sophie is 4 months old now. I see her every other weekend like the agreement says. Lauren drops her off Friday evenings and picks her up Sunday afternoons. We don't talk much during the exchanges. Just the basics. The baby needs this. Don't forget that. I set up a nursery in my office like I originally planned. Crib in the corner. Changing table. Rocking chair by the window. My desk got moved to the other side of the room. It works fine. Spencer has met Sophie 3 times. He's good with her. Gentle. He holds her when I'm making bottles and walks around the living room talking to her about nothing. She seems to like him. Gets quiet when he holds her. Lauren's other kids haven't been here. Lauren hasn't asked to bring them. I haven't offered. Lauren got an apartment last month. 2 bedrooms about 30 minutes away. The twins share one room. Kiara and Sophie share the other. Lauren sleeps on a pull-out couch in the living room. She told me this during one of the baby handoffs. I didn't ask why she told me. I sent her an extra $500 that week. She didn't thank me. Just texted back confirming she received it. My brother stopped talking to me. He thinks I handled everything wrong. My sister still calls but less often. She says she understands why I made the choices I made but wishes it had worked out differently. I told her I don't wish that. She got quiet on the phone. Then she said she had to go and hung up. Someone at work asked me last month if I was married. I said no. They asked if I had kids. I said yes. 2. A son and a daughter. They asked how old. I told them. They said that must keep me busy. I said it does. We left it at that. Spencer got his license 3 weeks ago. He drives Wendy's Honda now. The first day he had the car he took himself to school. Came home and parked it in the driveway. I was standing in the kitchen when he came in. He had the biggest smile. Held up the keys and said, "Thanks." I told him his mom would have wanted him to have it. He nodded and went upstairs. Lauren texted me last week. Said Sophie said her first word. I read the text twice. Didn't know what to respond. Finally typed back that was great. She didn't text anything else. I signed Sophie up for health insurance through my work. Added her to my life insurance policy too. Changed my will to split everything 3 ways. Spencer gets the house like Wendy wanted. Sophie and my older son from my first marriage get equal shares of everything else. My lawyer said it was fair. I asked him to make sure Spencer's name stayed on the house deed no matter what. He said it would. The house is still quiet most days. Spencer has friends over sometimes on weekends. They're loud and eat everything in the fridge, but it's good noise. On the weekends I have Sophie. The house sounds different. Baby sounds. Crying and cooing and little grunts. Spencer helps when he's home. Changes diapers sometimes. Makes bottles. Says he doesn't mind. Last weekend Sophie slept for 3 hours straight in the afternoon. I sat in the rocking chair in my office and watched her. She has Wendy's nose. Lauren's eyes. My chin apparently. She's her own person. I held her when she woke up. Fed her. Burped her. Put her back down. Spencer knocked on the office door and asked if I wanted to order pizza for dinner. I said yes. We ate in the living room and watched a movie. Sophie slept in her bouncer next to the couch. Sunday afternoon Lauren came to pick her up. She looked at the nursery setup in my office. Said it looked nice. I thanked her. She picked up Sophie and the diaper bag. Asked if the baby gave me any trouble. I said no. She was good. Lauren nodded. Then she asked if I ever thought about what could have been. I told her no point in thinking about that. She said she thought about it sometimes. I didn't respond. She left with Sophie. Spencer came downstairs after they left. He asked if I was okay. I told him I was fine. He said the house felt weird after Sophie left. Too quiet. I asked if he wanted her around more. He said he didn't know. Maybe. But not with Lauren's other kids. I told him that was fair. I don't know what happens from here. Sophie will grow up going between 2 houses. She'll have a brother who lives with her dad and 3 half-siblings who live with her mom. It's messy. It's not what I planned. But Spencer still has his room. Still has his home. Still comes first. Wendy made me promise. I keep my promises. The house is quiet tonight. Spencer is upstairs doing homework. I'm sitting in the living room writing this. Tomorrow I'll go to work. Come home. Make dinner. Spencer will probably have practice after school. I'll watch whatever game is on. The weekend after next I'll have Sophie again. We'll figure it out. That's all there is. No big ending. No lesson learned. Just choices made and consequences lived with. The house is still standing. Spencer is still here. That's what matters. Now let's move to the next story. Story 2. I walked in on my husband with my best friend who was acting as our surrogate. DNA test later confirmed the baby was actually theirs. I, 32F, just found out my husband Tom, 34M, has been having an affair with my best friend Rebecca, 31F, who is currently acting as our surrogate. And there's a chance the baby she's carrying is actually theirs, not from our IVF procedure. This all started several years ago. Tom and I met in college. We both came from families that struggled financially. We worked multiple jobs while studying to pay for tuition and rent. After graduation, we kept working hard, saving every extra dollar. We supported each other through tough times, celebrated small victories, and eventually managed to buy our own house 3 years ago. The house was our biggest achievement. We chose it specifically because it had 3 bedrooms, 1 for us, and 2 for the children we planned to have. We spent weekends painting the walls, fixing the garden, and making it perfect for the family we dreamed of building. For 2 years, we tried to get pregnant naturally. Month after month, nothing happened. The disappointment became harder to bear each time. Eventually, we decided to see a fertility specialist. The tests came back with the worst news I could imagine. I had severe uterine scarring from an undiagnosed infection years ago. The doctor explained that natural conception would be nearly impossible for me. I spent weeks barely functioning. I took time off work. I couldn't eat properly. I stayed in bed most days. The house that we worked so hard for suddenly felt empty. Tom tried to keep our spirits up, though I could tell he was hurting too. He would bring me tea in bed, try to get me to eat something, and sometimes just sit with me in silence when I couldn't talk about it. After a few months, we started looking into alternatives. Adoption seemed like a good option initially, but after attending some information sessions and talking to couples who had been waiting for years, we realized the process could take much longer than we were prepared for. The uncertainty and potential for heartbreak if a match fell through seemed too much to handle at that point. We then considered gestational surrogacy. When we looked into the costs, the numbers were shocking. Between agency fees, medical expenses, legal costs, and compensation for the surrogate, we were looking at spending more than we paid for our house. We discussed taking out loans, but the financial pressure would be enormous. The other big challenge was finding someone trustworthy to carry our child. The agencies told us about their screening processes, but the idea of a stranger carrying our baby made us uneasy. We wanted someone who understood what this meant to us. Rebecca has been my closest friend since college. We met in freshman year when we were assigned as roommates. We clicked immediately and stayed friends ever since. We were in each other's weddings, celebrated job promotions together, and supported each other through hard times. Rebecca married Josh, 32M, 6 years ago, and they have twin boys who are now 5 years old. One evening, Rebecca and I met for dinner. Tom was working late, and Josh was home with the kids. I told her about our struggles with finding a surrogate and the financial strain it would put on us. Rebecca listened carefully as I explained everything. Then she suggested that she could be our surrogate. I was shocked. I asked if she was serious, and she insisted she was. She explained that she had relatively easy pregnancies with the twins, that she knew how much having a child meant to me, and that she wanted to help. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. We hugged and both started crying in the restaurant. That weekend, we had Rebecca and Josh over to discuss the idea properly with Tom. Tom seemed uncomfortable from the start. He kept asking Rebecca if she had really thought this through. He mentioned the physical toll of pregnancy, the potential complications, and how it might affect our friendship. Rebecca assured him she had considered everything carefully. Josh was supportive but concerned for Rebecca's well-being. He said he would stand by her decision as long as she was sure about it. After several hours of discussion, Tom reluctantly agreed, though he still seemed hesitant. Over the next few weeks, Tom and I had many discussions about it. He repeatedly expressed concerns that having Rebecca as our surrogate would change our friendship dynamics. He worried about potential complications during pregnancy and how we would handle them. Each time, I reassured him that Rebecca was healthy, had experienced pregnancies before, and that our friendship was strong enough to handle this. Eventually, Tom gave in. We contacted a surrogacy agency to handle the legal aspects. We all underwent psychological evaluations. Rebecca passed all the medical screenings. We signed countless documents outlining everyone's rights and responsibilities. We agreed on compensation for Rebecca, though she initially refused to accept anything beyond medical expenses. Throughout this process, I checked in with Rebecca regularly to make sure she wasn't feeling pressured. Every time, she reaffirmed her commitment to helping us. The IVF procedure was successful. When the pregnancy was confirmed, I was overwhelmed with gratitude. Tom seemed genuinely excited too. We started planning the nursery, picking out names, and buying baby clothes. For the first time in years, I felt like our dream of having a family was becoming real. Last week, I drove to my parents' house 2 hours away to help them with some house repairs. I planned to stay overnight, but we finished earlier than expected. I tried to call Tom to let him know I'd be home early, but my phone died on the drive. I didn't have a charger with me, so I just kept driving. When I pulled into our driveway, I noticed Rebecca's car parked outside. I thought maybe she had stopped by to discuss something about the pregnancy. I entered through the back door that leads to the kitchen and patio area. What I saw next will forever be burned into my memory. Tom and Rebecca were by the pool, without clothes, clearly in the middle of something intimate. I screamed. They both jumped up, scrambling to cover themselves. Tom stared at me with a look of panic. The first thing he said was, "Why are you home so early? You were supposed to be at your parents' until tomorrow." That's when I noticed his phone on the table with the screen still lit up. I grabbed it and saw he had the Find My Phone app open, tracking my location. He had been monitoring me to make sure I wouldn't catch them. I demanded to know how long this had been going on. Tom confessed that he and Rebecca had been having an affair for about a year, starting shortly after we received my infertility diagnosis. He tried to justify it by saying he felt lonely because I was so withdrawn after the diagnosis. He claimed Rebecca offered him comfort that turned physical. He insisted it was just physical relief from stress and that he felt guilty but couldn't stop. Rebecca was crying and apologizing profusely. She said she never meant to hurt me, that she cared about me, and that it was a terrible mistake. She kept repeating that it was just physical and didn't mean anything. I asked if they continued sleeping together during the IVF process. Rebecca admitted that they had unprotected sex during that time. She said there was a significant chance that the baby she was carrying was conceived naturally between them, not through our IVF procedure. Tom tried to downplay this revelation, saying it didn't matter who the biological parents were as long as we got a child out of it. He claimed he was afraid the IVF might fail and was trying to ensure we would have a baby one way or another. Rebecca then said that even if the baby was biologically hers and Tom's, she had no intention of keeping it and would still give it to us. The way she spoke about the child, as if it were a package to be delivered, made me sick. I told Rebecca to leave immediately. I informed her that I would be calling Josh to tell him everything. She begged me not to, saying it would destroy her marriage, but I ignored her pleas. I told Tom to pack a bag and get out. He begged to stay, saying we could work through this, but I refused to even look at him. Eventually, he left with Rebecca. As soon as they were gone, I called Josh and told him everything. He was silent at first, then asked me to repeat what I had said, as if he couldn't believe it. His voice broke as he thanked me for telling him the truth. Since then, Tom and Rebecca have been constantly calling, texting, and emailing me. Tom keeps saying he loves me and wants to fix our marriage. Rebecca keeps apologizing and claiming she values our friendship. I haven't responded to either of them. Every time I see their names on my phone, I want to throw it against the wall. I've been staying at the house alone, trying to process everything. I'm considering filing for divorce, but part of me wonders if I'm overreacting. Am I wrong for wanting to end my marriage over this? Update 1. It's been a month since I discovered Tom and Rebecca's betrayal. The past weeks have been the most difficult of my life, but I'm starting to see things more clearly now. First, I want to thank everyone who commented on my original post. Your support and advice helped me realize I wasn't overreacting. What Tom and Rebecca did was inexcusable. I'm actually relieved that I discovered the truth before the baby was born. Tom and Rebecca were so confident in their deception that they never considered I might question the paternity of the child. After speaking with a fertility doctor, I learned that given the timing of the IVF procedure and Rebecca's admission about unprotected sex with Tom, there is indeed a high chance that the baby was conceived naturally. I've decided to separate from Tom. I met with a divorce attorney last week, and fortunately, we have a prenuptial agreement that should make the financial aspects of our divorce straightforward. Tom and I bought our house together, so we'll likely have to sell it and split the proceeds. We've arranged for a DNA maternity test to be done after the baby is born. If the baby turns out to be biologically mine, from my egg via IVF, I'll seek custody. If it's Rebecca's biological child, I'll remove myself from the situation entirely and let Tom and Rebecca figure out their responsibilities. Tom is not handling the separation well. He has shown up at the house several times, sometimes in the middle of the night. Last week, he arrived clearly intoxicated, pounding on the door and begging me to let him in. I had to threaten to call the police before he would leave. He leaves emotional voicemails daily, swearing he loves me and that Rebecca meant nothing to him. I've blocked his number, but he keeps calling from different phones. The way he's acting only confirms I'm making the right decision. Whatever love I had for him died the moment I saw him with Rebecca. I just want him out of my life. As for Rebecca, her life has fallen apart. Josh filed for divorce immediately after I told him about the affair. He's seeking full custody of their twins, and according to mutual friends, he has a strong case given Rebecca's infidelity. Their state has laws that consider adultery when determining alimony, so Rebecca likely won't receive financial support from Joshua. Rebecca lost her job at the marketing firm where she worked. Apparently, she missed too many days and meetings while dealing with the fallout of her actions. She couldn't afford to keep their apartment on her own, so she moved back in with her parents. She emails me almost daily, claiming she loves me like a sister and begging for forgiveness. I've blocked her email address, but she creates new accounts to continue reaching out. The social consequences for both of them have been severe. Our friend group has completely cut them off. No one wants anything to do with them after learning what they did. Tom's parents, who always treated me like a daughter, are furious with him. His father called me to say he was considering removing Tom from his will and leaving his share to the baby instead, regardless of biological parentage. Rebecca's parents reached out to apologize to me, clearly mortified by their daughter's actions. I haven't responded to them either. It's not their fault, but I can't bring myself to engage with anyone connected to Rebecca right now. The hardest part of all this has been coming to terms with the loss of my dream to be a mother. For years, having a child was all I could think about. The house feels emptier than ever now. The nursery we started preparing sits half finished. I can't bring myself to pack anything away yet. I've started looking for a new job in a different city. I need a fresh start, away from all the memories and places that remind me of Tom and Rebecca. They were such huge parts of my life for so long that everywhere I go holds some reminder of them. My parents offered to let me move in with them temporarily, but I need to stand on my own. I've applied for positions in several cities and had a few promising interviews. Focusing on work has been the one thing keeping me going through all of this. Some days are better than others. Sometimes I can go hours without thinking about what happened. Other times, the memory of finding them together hits me out of nowhere, and I have to stop whatever I'm doing until the feeling passes. I still haven't decided what to do about the baby. Part of me hopes it's biologically mine, that something good might come from this nightmare. But another part hopes it isn't, so I can make a clean break from both of them. The pregnancy is progressing normally, according to mutual friends. Rebecca is about 5 months along now. She's been posting updates on social media, which friends have screenshot and sent to me, portraying herself as a selfless surrogate helping a friend in need. She conveniently leaves out the part where she slept with my husband and potentially conceived a child with him naturally. I've asked these friends to stop sending me updates about Rebecca. I don't want to know anything about her life. I just want to move forward with mine. Update 2. It's been 7 months since my last update. A lot has happened, and I've been hesitant to share it all. But the support I received from my previous posts helped me through the darkest period of my life, so I wanted to provide this final update. Rebecca gave birth to a baby boy 3 weeks ago. The delivery went smoothly, and the baby is healthy. As planned, we did a DNA maternity test immediately. The results confirmed what I had been preparing myself for: the baby is not biologically mine. It was conceived naturally between Tom and Rebecca. When I received the results, I felt oddly relieved. While it confirmed the full extent of their betrayal, it also meant I could finally close this chapter of my life. I have no legal or biological connection to the child. What happened next shocked everyone, including me. Tom and Rebecca decided they don't want to keep the baby. Tom told mutual friends that he isn't ready for fatherhood, and Rebecca claims she already has her hands full with the twins, though Josh now has primary custody of them. They've decided to put the baby up for adoption. They didn't even consult me about this decision, not that they needed to, but it shows how little they truly cared about having a child. After all their talk about wanting to give me a baby, they're giving away their own biological child. Their decision has caused even more outrage among our social circle. People who had started to forgive them are now disgusted all over again. Tom's parents are especially furious. They've offered to adopt their grandchild themselves, but Tom and Rebecca are resistant to this idea, apparently wanting a clean break. I've completely moved on with my life. I followed through on my plan to relocate and found a job in a city about 400 miles away from our old town. I'm working as a project manager for a construction company, which is a step up from my previous position. I sold my share of the house to Tom as part of our divorce settlement. The divorce was finalized 2 months ago. The prenuptial agreement made the process relatively straightforward, though Tom tried to contest certain aspects. In the end, the court upheld the prenup terms. I'm renting an apartment in my new city. It's smaller than our house was, but it's mine alone, and there are no memories here. I've made some new friends through work and a local hiking group I joined. As for Tom and Rebecca, I hear bits and pieces from mutual friends despite asking them not to tell me. Tom finally stopped trying to contact me after the divorce was finalized. He's apparently dating someone new already. Rebecca's life continues to be difficult. She lost custody of the twins and is only allowed supervised visitation twice a month. She's working at a retail store now and still living with her parents. Josh has reached out to me a few times. We've met for coffee once when he was in my new city for business. There's nothing romantic between us, just a shared understanding of what we went through. He's doing well, focused on raising his boys and rebuilding his life. Sometimes I still think about the family I thought I would have. I wonder what would have happened if we had chosen a different surrogate, or if we had pursued adoption instead. But dwelling on what might have been doesn't help anyone. I've decided to take a break from dating for now. I need time to rebuild my trust in people. The 2 people I trusted most in the world betrayed me in the worst possible way. That's not something I can just get over overnight. Update 3, it's been a year since my last update, and almost 2 years since the day I discovered Tom and Rebecca's affair. I hadn't planned on posting again, but recent events prompted me to share this final chapter. The baby boy that Tom and Rebecca put up for adoption was placed with a loving family in a nearby state. I learned this through Tom's mother, who reached out to me 6 months ago. She wanted to maintain a relationship with me despite everything that happened with her son. She told me that Tom and Rebecca initially refused to let his parents adopt the baby, claiming they wanted a clean break. However, the truth was that they had been negotiating with a private adoption agency that offered financial incentives. They were essentially selling their baby to the highest bidder. Tom's parents reported this to the authorities and hired a lawyer to fight for their rights as grandparents. They managed to block the private adoption and were granted visitation rights to their grandson. The baby was ultimately placed with a couple who agreed to an open adoption arrangement with Tom's parents. As for Tom, he lost his job after showing up intoxicated multiple times. He moved to another state and rarely contacts his family. According to his mother, he blames everyone but himself for how his life turned out. Rebecca attempted to reconcile with Josh, but he refused. She tried to contest the custody arrangement for the twins, but the court upheld the original decision. She now has standard visitation rights but still complains about the system being rigged against mothers. Last month, I received a letter from Rebecca. Instead of another apology or plea for forgiveness, it was filled with accusations. She blamed me for ruining her life and claimed that if I had been a better wife to Tom, he wouldn't have turned to her for comfort. She said that my obsession with having a baby put too much pressure on everyone. The letter showed no remorse, only bitterness and resentment. I didn't respond. Her words have no power over me anymore. My life has taken unexpected turns. The construction company I joined was acquired by a larger firm, and I was promoted to regional director. The new position came with significant responsibilities and a substantial pay increase. I used part of my savings to make a down payment on a small house. It's just the right size for me, with a garden that I've enjoyed cultivating. Gardening has become a therapeutic hobby that helps me process everything that happened. After careful consideration, I decided to pursue becoming a foster parent. The training and certification process took several months, but I was approved 3 months ago. 2 weeks ago, I welcomed a 12-year-old girl into my home for what's expected to be a long-term placement. She's bright, resilient, and dealing with her own past trauma. We're taking things day by day, building trust slowly. I've had minimal contact with anyone from my old life except for Josh and Tom's parents. Josh relocated to be closer to his family, and we exchange occasional texts. Tom's parents visit their grandson regularly and send me updates, which I appreciate. I finally feel like I'm living my life on my own terms. The pain hasn't disappeared completely, I doubt it ever will, but it no longer defines me. I've built a new life that has meaning and purpose. To those who followed my journey and offered support when I needed it most, thank you. Your words helped me find strength when I thought I had none left. For anyone going through something similar, know that it is possible to rebuild, even when your entire world has been shattered.